This was billed as a real test of Liverpool's Premier League title credentials, wasn't it? But in the end, we've witnessed an absolute demolition job at Anfield here tonight. Liverpool winning 4-1 against Chelsea in the end. And as I say, this was supposed to be a difficult game for Liverpool. Obviously, Chelsea have shown real improvement of late under Mauricio Pochettino, and as they should really. They've got a £1 billion squad that they keep putting out on the pitch, and you know, we've seen in recent weeks that results have slightly picked up for them. So this looked on paper like it might be a little bit of a tricky one for Liverpool, but in the end, nothing of it really. I think, you know, Liverpool just absolutely took Chelsea apart in the end and completely deserved the win. I mean, the statistics bear it out. 28 shots to Chelsea's 4, 13 of those shots coming on target, and just 3 shots on target from Chelsea. 2.93 expected goals generated by Liverpool, and just the 0.56 from Chelsea, and that it just shows how comprehensive a win this was for Liverpool, and now leaves Chelsea 20 points and 9 places behind Liverpool. And you think of all the furore that was around the two clubs' transfer business over the summer, you know, Chelsea spending all that money putting together an entirely new squad, and Liverpool, they did spend quite a bit in fixing the midfield, but it was, you know, suggested that in missing out on Caicedo, for example, that would be a real blow to the even top 4 hopes. But now Liverpool are, you know, they're 5 points clear in the Premier League title race, albeit with City having a game in hand. And you look at the performance here, so convincing and so dominant against a Chelsea side who, you know, can only hope to reach this level really, and they'll be so disappointed with the way that they were just completely taken apart here. And just one of the things I think that will frustrate the most is, yes, you've got a £110 million midfielder in there in Moises Caicedo, but apart from him, really, you know, so much, there's a real lack of quality. I mean, Cole Palmer has been brilliant for Chelsea so far this season, but didn't really see a lot of him. Liverpool just completely shut him out of the game. Caicedo was quiet. Enzo Fernandez, another player who Liverpool was said to have coveted before he made a big money move to Chelsea, you know, again, just so quiet really. Liverpool so dominant in those positions and so in control of the game. And what will maybe frustrate Chelsea the most is that the dominant force in this game was 20-year-old Conor Bradley, an academy graduate for Liverpool who came through and totally dictated the game from right back. And that shows you really maybe the difference between the two clubs' philosophies, is that Liverpool will leave space open for an academy graduate to come into the team, where Chelsea maybe will buy someone and maybe it won't work out, because on the evidence I've seen tonight, a lot of those signings that Chelsea have made, and they made an awful lot of them recently, you know, are not going to work out really. You know, we saw so many poor performances from them, and they just couldn't get out against Liverpool. And I say poor performances, you know, Liverpool had a big part in making them play that way really. They were forcing Pochettino into making a triple sub at half time. That didn't change a thing. It was still all one-way traffic, and as I say, Liverpool the absolute dominant force to go 5 points clear in the title race. Yes, City have that game in hand, but you want to keep that advantage as big as you can for as long as possible. And of course, a big test coming up against Arsenal next up, but Liverpool, this is the perfect start to what has been billed as a massive week. Now I'm going to go into the individual performances, and I'll start with the goalkeeper, Alisson Becker. As I say, Chelsea generating just 3 shots on target across the entire game, and I don't really think he was massively tested. I think possibly the biggest moment he has really is at the start. There's a little Cole Palmer through ball over the top at 0-0. He comes out really sharply to take that. Otherwise, kind of really was a quiet evening for him. A couple of shots that dipped in front of him and are difficult to take, but you expect Alisson to take those. He really just didn't have that much to do, and I think that's, again, because Liverpool was so dominant. And actually, that kind of goes for a lot of the defence really, in that so much what was happening ahead of them was, you know, made their job so much easier. Liverpool so dominant in that centre of the park. You know, I mentioned Enzo and Caicedo as the pair that Chelsea fans always talk about. They got one over on Liverpool and getting, but they were just dominating that part of the pitch, and that made it hard for Chelsea to generate any opportunities or really put the defence in danger. So, almost a quiet night for Liverpool's back five really. But I say that, but I want to go a little bit more in depth on Conor Bradley, because for me, he was the dominant force in this match. You know, if Chelsea were trying to do anything, they were trying to come down Conor Bradley's side, and you can understand that. He's a 20-year-old. They're trying to target that as a weakness, but they had absolutely zero success in that. I mean, I've already mentioned 2 assists and an unbelievable finish for his goal. The composure he takes to strike that, it's a striker's finish really. He takes it, he's almost, he's too out wide for you to think he's going to find the back of the net, but just an unbelievable finish into the far corner. And then the 2 assists again are all about quality. You know, the one he dives up on he wins the ball out on the right, and it's driving forward, real purpose to feed Jota, who scores the opening goal. And then the last one he gets, where he just swings in a perfect crossfit to be headed in by Szoboszlai. He's just got unbelievable quality in his boots, and alongside that, real fighting spirit, and also the ability to win his duels. So, you know, he won 7 out of 11 ground duels here, 2 out of 3 tackles, but also alongside that, 4 chances created. Now, Liverpool were supposed to be missing Trent Alexander-Arnold's ability to dominate a game from right back with him being out injured, and yet they brought in this kid from the academy who is equally a dominant force from right back. It's unbelievable, really. It speaks to the quality of the job done by the academy in bringing players like this through, but also the manager in you know, recognising that Conor Bradley was absolutely ready. I mean, it would have been so easy to rush Trent Alexander-Arnold back into the side here, having made that substitute appearance against Norwich. But at the end of the day, Klopp knows that Bradley's in form and he's capable, and he showed that again today. I thought absolutely the man of the match performance, really, and to come, as I say, from a 20-year-old, just phenomenal. You know, it just really does speak to the fact that the club is in rude health from top to bottom at the moment, and although there's a change of manager coming, it really does fill you with hope when you see the performance of the likes of Bradley. If you've got players like that coming through, as we know they have with Quansah, and there are many, many more coming behind them, it just speaks to a club that, yeah, is in rude health and has a lot to look forward to in the future. And I'll move alongside him in defence and talk about Konate. I thought, again, as I say, in front of them, they were so well protected, I thought, through this game. So there was an awful lot of defending for these defenders to do. I thought everything Konate did, I actually liked. Any chances to defend that he got, he actually took really well, in terms of he was always trying to be front-footed, he was always trying to get in front of Chelsea's forwards to nick the ball, and that was helping Liverpool to stay dominant, to stay on the front foot, to stay in possession. So he did quite a bit of that and really liked it. But I think because they were winning a lot of the balls in midfield and he was mostly sweeping up, one of the most influential factors in the game is the fact that Konate makes 9 passes into the final third. I think I spoke in the last video I did after a match, is that he's becoming increasingly influential on that side of things in possession. You would have said that in the past it was, you know, not a weakness but not a massive strength, but it's becoming a strength now. He's so confident in the ball. Some of the balls he's chipping in behind, some of the long passes he plays, and as I say, 9 passes into the final third. That kind of sums up really how good he was in possession. So a brilliant performance from Konate today. And again, alongside him, Virgil van Dijk. Teams, you know, Chelsea, as other teams often do, would trying to move away from Van Dijk and that left hand side with Gomez as well. They were trying to target Bradley, trying to target Konate down that side, and so Virgil van Dijk didn't have an awful lot to do, but you saw his real class in one moment, I thought, in the first half, where Madueke looks like he's maybe going to get away from him down in the box, and he just turns on the afterburners, catches him up, uses his strength to ease him off the ball, and that, you know, I just think summed it up again. You know, didn't really have loads to do, but when he did do something, he showed his real class in doing it, and that's Virgil van Dijk through and through, isn't he? Absolutely back to his best this season. I'll just finish off the defence now by talking about Gomez, and I mentioned there that, you know, defenders down that side, anyone alongside Van Dijk down that side, doesn't tend to have absolutely loads to do. So kind of a quiet game for Joe Gomez again, but I thought, again, just a similar case that everything he did absolutely right. At 88% passing accuracy, and he wins 3 out of 3 tackles. So, you know, Chelsea didn't pose much threat, but any time they had even a sniff of maybe getting a chance, Joe Gomez was there to cut out the danger, really. And, you know, Andy Robertson's back, he comes on as a substitute here, but I think Joe Gomez, he has been unbelievable at left back, hasn't he, since he's come in? Just been phenomenal, really, and better than anyone could have expected in that position. That's not really massively natural to him. He's just hasn't let anyone down at all, and, you know, does Andy Robertson have a bit of a battle on his hands to get back in at that left back position? We'll have to see, but it speaks to Joe Gomez that is even a conversation that we're having at the moment. So another great performance from him. Now moving to midfield now, and talk about Alexis Mac Allister. I think in the past few weeks I feel like his performance level has just gone up and up, and I think we are really now seeing that Liverpool, because it tends to happen in Klopp seasons where there's a little bit of, you know, an imbalance at the start and players getting used to each other, but I think that's worked itself out now. And one of the benefits we're seeing is that Mac Allister is really protected in a good way, and he can win his battles in a small part of the pitch and then get on the ball and show his quality, and we're seeing that week after week. And I thought he was absolutely phenomenal in everything he did today. You know, really good on the ball, as I say, a 91% passing accuracy, so he's barely giving it away, and that is for a player who will take the ball in difficult areas. He doesn't shirk, you know, he doesn't hide away and just take it when it's easy. He takes it when there's 2 players either side of him. He's got to have his head on a swivel. You know, he's Thiago-like in that sense, actually. So calm on the ball, and he really helps Liverpool to play out when teams press him, and he's got the composure to pick that pass through the lines. I think he makes 11 passes into the final third, actually, which again shows you how important his job is for getting Liverpool on the front foot. But he also he does everything else alongside that in terms of the defensive thing, which was supposed to be, people said, a weakness in his game. He wins 7 out of his 8 tackles. 6 of those came in the first half when he was utterly dominant, and 11 out of 17 of his ground duels. And you simply cannot ask for more for a number 6. That debate seemingly wants to rage on, and people will still say that Liverpool need a natural number 6, but I just don't buy into it at all. I think if you protect him in this way and you use him in this way and you've got balance in your midfield, then Alexis Mac Allister, to me, looks like the perfect number 6 for this team. And again, I think we saw the reasons why for that today. He was, up against a very, very expensively assembled midfield, and he was head and shoulders above Chelsea in that area of the pitch. What a phenomenal buy he's been, and much better than 110 million for Caicedo on the evidence that we saw today. And the same with Enzo Fernandez, whatever his fee was, streets ahead of both of them today. A phenomenal performance from him. Now, alongside him, Curtis Jones, thought one of his more quiet performances. He's usually a little bit more involved in games, and 88% passing accuracy is kind of actually quite low for him. He tends to be in the 90s because he keeps the ball so well, and he only wins 3 out of his 7 ground duels, but still, I always think he brings to the game what it needs in terms of being a facilitator, filling in the gaps, being in the right spots to receive passes. So he didn't have a poor game by any means, just not quite as influential as we've seen him in the past, but still he was part of a midfield that, as I say, was so dominant here today, and he's always a big part of that. So Curtis Jones can't say enough good things about him. I'll just finish off the midfield now with Dominik Szoboszlai. I thought a lot of the game he kept things simple in terms of in possession, and he only wins 2 out of his 6 ground duels, but I think you see why it's good to have him back. I think in moments of transition, he's so good at getting back in and filling in gaps, and he necessarily doesn't have to win the tackle when the ball is there, but he gets in to fill the gaps, and he stops counters because of his pace, because of his physicality. I thought he was really good in that, and as I say, used the ball quite well and quite sensibly, and I thought that was a big key to how Liverpool dominated midfield. And then when he gets the chance to get into the box and get his goal, he tucks that away really well. It's a good header, and you want to see him keep getting into those goal scoring positions. Goals have kind of dried up for him a little bit of late, and obviously I know he's been out through injury, but he looked a bit more of a goal threat in the early part of the season. But that could be a welcome return to the goals for him today, to get in there, and good to see him getting in the box like a striker and finishing off. That's what you want from your number 8s, those sort of late runs into the box. So he really showed that today. So really good for Liverpool to have him back. I'm not surprised he goes straight into the team, because I think he's an important part, and he should be really on that on that first choice team sheet for in midfield for me, because he's got so much quality on both sides of the ball. Now, moving to the forward line now, and start with Diogo Jota. I thought absolutely summed him up today, really, his performance as a whole. I mean, 58% passing accuracy, which is really poor considering he sees so much of the ball, and you want your attackers, yes, to try things and make things happen, but you really wanted to keep the hold of the ball better than that. But as ever, he scores the goal that opens up the game, that makes it 1-0 through his own brilliance. It's so scruffy, he's bundling through 2 players, but he finds that gap and then has the composure to put it away in his left foot, and that is Jota through and through, really, isn't it? Is just that scruffiness, and then he gets the finish, and of course he wins a penalty as well, which obviously ends up being missed. But I think that is Jota all over, really, that bit of scruffiness, and then the composure to find the finish, and then he wins a pen in amongst that as well. He's just so important to Liverpool. I keep saying it, when Salah's away, he's such a massive goal threat, and the opening goal here, yes, Liverpool were dominant in this game, but you always need that first goal to open things up, and Jota gets that through just sheer persistence and obviously composure in his finishing today. Now, on the other wing, Luis Diaz, I thought he saw a lot of the ball early doors and didn't seem to do a lot with it, but then obviously that absolutely massively changed when he picks out the assist for Conor Bradley. It's great vision, really, to drop his shoulder, and the space opens up to find Conor Bradley. I still think it's an unbelievable finish. It's not exactly a buffet ball that puts it on a plate for him, but that he's making goal contributions. He's contributing to the team. He always works back when he's on, whichever side he's on, always helps out his fullback as well. And then at the end, he gets a goal through a tap in, which is just, again, sheer persistence to get there. It takes a sprint to get there. Late in the game when Liverpool are already ahead, they probably don't need the goal, but he's just tireless, and I think that's why Jurgen Klopp loves him. He's not always there in terms of goal contributions, but he works and works off the ball, and also he'll run and run going the other way, going both ways really. And I think we saw that, the persistence, as I say, to get in the box and score that late goal just kind of summed him up. And he ends today with an assist and a goal, and you can't really ask much more from your wingers than that. So a brilliant performance from Diaz today, and as I say, that work rate, just love that from him, and he really does set the tone for Liverpool in terms of the press. And finish off the starters with Darwin Nunez, and again, talk about performances that sum people up. Just an incredible evening for him, really. 11 shots, which is absolutely ridiculous, and he hits the post 4 times. The penalty is kind of disappointing. I would never have had him down as a real penalty taker, because he's obviously one of those who, when he has time to think about it, not the cleanest striker of the ball either, so didn't think he was a good choice of penalty taker, and then he obviously proves that in missing him. But he's kind of unlucky with hitting the post that many times. One's a brilliant save, one tipped onto the bar in the first half, then of course he misses the penalty, and then at the end the header that rattles the bar as well. He's so close, isn't he? I think Opta tweeted after the game to say that it's the most that anyone's hit the post in a single game since they started collecting these statistics back in 2003. So four times he's hit the post. If he gets a little bit more luck on just a couple of those, or some of these start to go in the way that they did for Luis Suarez, and things will really turn for him. But still, regardless of the fact he's taken 11 shots and hitting the post 4 times, you still got to focus on the positives with him, which is, in the end, he was an absolute menace for Chelsea. They couldn't keep their eyes off him at all in the game. He was so dangerous, and then he gets an assist with just a brilliant moment of quality at the end. So he does have that composure. He just maybe needs to find it, when he's in front of goal himself, because the ball he picks out behind me at the Kop end there to put Diaz in for the goal is inch perfect. He puts it an inch either side, and it's getting cut out, or the goalkeeper gets it. So it shows you he does have that composure, but it always seems to be when he's setting somebody else up rather than when he's in that goal scoring position. But I hope, in a similar way to Luis Suarez, that will come for him eventually. It was around, Suarez, it took around 18 months till he fully settled in and started finding the back of the net regularly. So maybe we'll see a similar thing from Nunez, and he's already getting goals, he's getting assists, and as I say, if you keep taking 11 shots in a match, I think your goals are going to start to come for you. So he was a menace for Chelsea, against Chelsea all night, and I just think yes, some disappointment in his finishing, but you've really got to give him credit for his overall performance, because he was a big part of Liverpool utterly demolishing Chelsea, as I say here today. So that kind of sums up the starting 11. In terms of the substitutes, I'll just go through quickly. I thought, Andy Robertson, great to see him back, and he showed real energy. It'd be interesting to see if he comes back into the team for Arsenal, because he looked physically ready tonight. And whether you eventually want to give Joe Gomez a rest, maybe that would be a good time to get Robertson back in. And I think you won't lose much, will you, by putting a quality player like that in. Also wanted to say it was kind of nice to see Bobby Clark come on as well. There's an expectation he's probably going to leave on loan before the end of the window, possibly. But great to see him get on the pitch, because he was unfortunate against Norwich not to get an appearance, wasn't he? With the way things worked out with the subs and needing to get players on the pitch to give them minutes. So he's a real talent, a big part of Liverpool's future, I think. So good to see him get on the pitch here. So that's really my summary of the match. Please do let me know, as ever, in the comments what you thought. Let me know who your man of the match was. How amazed you were really by this performance. Liverpool, as I say, just absolutely taking Chelsea apart when they were supposed to come here and give them a real test. It's a phenomenal performance, and does that really strengthen your belief that Liverpool can go on and be title winners? As ever, I'm going to finish up by saying, if you can please like this video, it's always helpful, and if you don't subscribe, please do join us on this journey, because Liverpool are absolutely flying at the moment, don't they? And they've got 4 trophies to win, and they're looking pretty good value for it at the moment. So plenty more to come, and I will see you very soon.